Hello friends, welcome to today's daily devotion. We're continuing to look at Paul's letter Colossians and the domino effect that it has in our lives. Today we're reading Colossians chapter 3 verses 5 through 8. Hear now these words. Put to death therefore whatever belongs to your earthly nature. Sexual immorality, impurity, lust, evil desires, and greed, which is idolatry. Because of these, the wrath of God is coming. You used to walk in these ways in the life you once lived. But now you must rid yourselves of all such things as these: anger, rage, malice, slander, and filthy language from your lips. Yesterday we talked about the idea of putting oneself to death, of going to your own funeral, dying before you die. But I didn't give you any practicalities around what that looks like. Well, today we are. This is some very specific ways in which we need to die. Paul tells us we need to put to death whatever belongs to our earthly natures. And I find it fascinating that the list that he gives us has so much to do with our feelings that lead us into actions. Sexual immorality. We talk about our sexuality as if we have no choice in how our sexuality is experienced. But Paul is telling us otherwise, that our sexual predilections do not identify us. They are not what creates us to be who we are. Impurity, lust, these are all expressions of sexuality that are out of bounds. And the beauty of sexuality within the appropriate bounds that God has given us is that leads us to life. But our earthly nature, sexual immorality, impurity, and lust, evil desires, these all put us not into life. So we need to put them to death. Greed. How many times do we want what we ought not to want? How many times do we get caught up in anger and rage? We then become malicious towards those that we have the rage and the anger against. We're more than willing to slander others as a means to build ourselves up. And filthy language, that's not just curse words. It's not dropping F-bombs and S-bombs and D-bombs and any other kind of four-letter word bomb that you might be thinking about. Filthy language is any language that is tearing somebody down rather than building everyone up. This is what we describe as living into Jesus by dying out of self. There are behaviors that we need to let go of, and we do not let the temptations to engage in those actually become full-blown actions of those. We can't do that on our own. If I'm trying to get rid of sexual immorality just out of my own strength, I'm going to botch it. I'm going to blow it. But if I'm doing it in Christ, if Christ is doing it in me, then I can put to death whatever belongs to my earthly nature. It might be dangerous for me to ask you to give examples of where this has happened in your own life. We tend to be people who want to keep our private lives private. So here's what I'm going to do. I encourage you to find 2, 3, 4 people that you are willing to be absolutely open and honest with. these become people that we describe as your Christian accountability partners. A way of thinking about this is your Wesleyan covenant band. John Wesley, when he created Methodism, he put us all into classes and bands, and if you were going to be a Methodist, you were required to participate in a class. And as you desired to go truly deep in your Christian faith, you would join a band. I'm inviting you to join a band. Find that group of people that Colossians 3:5 can become real for you. I have a band, and we meet every week to talk about just these kinds of things, putting to death our earthly natures so that the heavenly nature of Jesus blooms and grows in us. I encourage you to do the same. And I'll see you tomorrow for our next daily devotion.